Are you ready to live a more meaningful and passionate life? Through the principles of Heartliving, you'll delve into new theories, discover life wisdom, and achieve greater balance. Become inspired. Tune in to Dr. Cynthia Bischoff, international life coach and practitioner who's helped thousands transform their lives. Part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network, Heartliving with Dr. Cynthia Bischoff will lead you on a remarkable journey of the heart.
Welcome to the Heartliving with Dr. Cynthia Bischoff show. I'm Dr. Cynthia Bischoff, your host. You can listen to Heartliving on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Wednesday, 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Boston and worldwide. You may listen online or on your mobile devices. To learn more, go to dreamvision7radio.com for a full schedule. Dream Vision 7 Radio Network is the media partner for Omega Institute. Thanks so much for tuning into our show today. Our topic is saying yes to a great life. So this is going to be a wonderful show. Now, when you say yes to a great life, what does that actually mean? Well, I believe it means that you're saying yes to living a more conscious life, to improving your life. And when you do that, you actually create a field of possibility both around you and within you. And in turn, when you focus on just basic manifesting principles, which we're going to be covering today, you also create new positive outcomes for yourself. So that's exactly what we're going to discuss today, ways to do this. How to focus on results that you want to create, and then to learn the universal principles of life and how to apply them. We'll also talk about how you actually can make a positive change. And we'll look at ways in which we resist this. We have to look at whether or not you're a vibrational match with your desires, because you may want one thing and not believe you can actually have it. And you do have to have a match between your vibration and your desires in order to manifest what it is you're looking to do. And likewise, we'll talk about how your resistance, if in fact you have resistance, how that actually can stop you from allowing things to come into your world. So I decided to I chose this topic actually because often as a life coach, I have clients who discuss how much they want to bring balance into their lives and, how much they want to achieve certain goals or really just have greater joy. So I think the best way for us to start is going to be to look at the basic principles of manifesting. You almost have to understand those in order to make an application, of course, of them. So the first of the basic principles, at least as far as I'm concerned, is that your views about what is available to you. Now think about it. We all have views that, I could achieve that, or, that isn't going to happen. But your views about what is available to you and your thoughts in general, just your basic thoughts, they are directly related to the results that you create. So the results that you're creating, in other words, don't just come out of nowhere. They're actually related to your views about what's available to you and the thoughts that you hold in general. You see, your thoughts are sending out signals, and we're going to talk about that momentarily. Everything is really vibrating information. You're vibrating information, and therefore, when you send certain thoughts out, it is as though those signals that are sent out with the thoughts make an attraction of something to you. So what you do when you think and feel positively and do what I'm calling say yes, to a great life, or yes to the desire to live a more conscious life, you begin to create a field of possibility around you and within you. And if you're desiring to create more positive circumstances and greater life change, well, this process that we're talking about, this process of positive change, actually begins when you begin to hold what's called conscious intent, or we could say holding conscious intention. But if you don't hold any kind of conscious intent at all, you're going to be more apt to have a haphazard sort of result, or at least not one that is intentional in some way. Now, from this perspective, if you're choosing to, Gary Zukov in his book Seed of the Soul says, if you choose to evolve unconsciously, right, or if you choose to evolve consciously, whatever way you go, that's the way you're going to evolve. So he says if you choose consciously to evolve, you're going to pay attention, you're going to hold some conscious intent, then you're going to actually evolve more consciously in your lifetime. Now, in metaphysics, which I have a PhD in metaphysics, so in metaphysics it's believed that anything that you can conceive is actually a part of you right now. So, in other words, if I can hold an idea, it begins to become a part of me right now. So your inner reality, how you're holding things to be, helps to create your outer reality, or often called your outer manifestation. Now, in regard to universal law, you must affirm through your actions, whatever your actions are, those things you're going out and doing, your behaviors, but you affirm through your actions the life circumstances that you intend to create. So, for example, it's believed if you want to be rich, you have to at least start to feel that you are, or hold that it's possible, or hold, almost a kind of act as if. There's a wonderful idea, and I've used it many times, that I came up with, and that is, your knowledge is not really complete unless you act on what you know. If I just know something, yeah, that's knowledge. But when I start to act on what I know, then I can create wisdom from that. So, again, your knowledge is not really complete. It doesn't really become wisdom until you start acting on it. What this also means is that it is important not to be what can be termed half-hearted. You know how I'd love to have that, but I don't think I can. So it's important not to be half-hearted about what's going on, since it is your full-heartedness, this belief and everything coming together. The full-heartedness actually creates what's called your manifesting energy. So when I'm teaching, I often do an exercise at the beginning, and I say, what is your intention? What do you want to create? What do you want to create in your life right now? And I made a couple of notes of what some people told me in a recent workshop that they wanted to create. And I'm looking at a few notes I took. One person said she wanted to create ease and flow in her life. Another, joy and positivity. Another one just said to be clear. She felt foggy about things. Another one wanted to create a new job that would, be in alignment with what she wanted. I love this. Another person in the class said she just wanted to make herself a priority because she felt like everything else in her life was a priority, but, she always put herself last. And yet another person who's doing a tremendous amount of work. It's her own business, but nonetheless she's constantly working. She wanted what she called organizational peace, and I thought, yep, that would be good, wouldn't it? So, she wanted to feel more at peace with the solutions she was coming up with and just the organizational structure and so forth of her work. Let's see, another person said she wanted to determine ways to allow herself to be open and clear because she felt that she tended to block herself rather than that it kind of happened to her. It was like an internal block that was creating that. I love this one. Another person said she just wanted to be ready for something new, and she thought that she sometimes limited her ideas so that she kept living with the same old stuff, but she wanted to be ready for something new. And a last one I had here was, again, the idea of focusing on herself. And I remember one woman said, things were so chaotic in her life, and I actually told her that you don't have to wait for a catastrophe in your cell tissue to get out of a bad situation, because she was in a bad situation and she felt she kept hanging in there, hoping it would change. And, of course, it had not changed. So it was about her changing herself. So we started with our intentions. And then from the intention itself, we said, okay, well, if this is the intention, what results would I want to create given that intention? So, if I want to get clear and have organizational peace, what would the results look like? And that helps because if you start to think of the results you want to create, it just amplifies your intention. It kind of brings the conscious being thought process into more of an action. And that led us to actions that we felt would need to be taken for the person, each one of them, to manifest their intentions. Now, I want to tell you another thing that we did in the exercise, which was so much fun. I told them to give themselves a title for their intention. So, and in turn, even really for the year, because we did this early on in the year. So, what would be a title you'd want to give yourself in order to manifest your heart's desire? What would that title look like? And, people put all kinds of interesting titles, like meeting the challenge or letting go of the attachment or whatever it was they were doing. But you can do the same, and this will get you focused. Now, having said that, the next step in our program today would be to look at universal principles. Now, I want to sort of, distinguish that we have in life what's called human law, and that would be more like the kind of legal law that we think of, or the idea of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, more human. But universal law principles are very different, and there are so many that were created by famous writers and authors like Emmett Fox, George Winslow Plummer, and these are people you could easily Google and look up, John Randolph Price, Stuart Wilde was excellent, Abraham Hicks, and so forth, Yogananda, just many, many. So the universal law principles that, again, that's why we're calling them universal laws, that people believe that universally these were true. I'm going to share some of those, again, just to get us all focused on what would be considered a common ground. So one of the first universal principles is that your inner being is called source energy. Your inner being is source energy. Now, source energy is, you could call source God or Allah or the universe itself or whatever you want to call it, but it's believed that you're of the same fabric, you're of the same vibration as source energy, and that, you hold higher consciousness, you have a higher being. You are a spiritual being, as the saying goes, having a human experience. So each of us has a higher vibration, or that we're an aspect of source. So that's number one. And why is that important? Well, sometimes people want to manifest, but they don't feel worthy, or they don't feel like good things are going to come to them and that kind of thing. And once you begin to hold, okay, wait a minute, I'm source energy, then you begin to say to yourself, well, if I'm source energy, then why not? Why would this not come to me or be a part of my of who I am? So again, your inner being is source energy. Now, a second important principle is that every being, each of us, all of us, everything, is a vibrational being, and we're all sort of together in a vibrational environment. In most cultures, and I'm thinking like Native American culture especially, the whole concept of the fact that everything is vibrational, they would call stones rock people traditionally, or, everything has spirit, so we don't want to harm anything. So every being is a vibrational being in a vibrational environment. And another way to look at it, some physicists say we're all vibrating information. So when you change your consciousness, when you change your concepts, your ideas, then you're raising, really, your vibration, which means in turn that you're going to attract higher vibrational things to you. Okay, so, we want to raise our consciousness, raise our vibration. Now, the most powerful law in the universe is called the law of attraction. And you may know it as like attracts like, so the law of attraction. And the idea is that every single thought that we think is vibrating, and each of these thoughts will radiate a signal that will attract a match back to itself. And again, that's a process that's called the law of attraction. So for that reason, we really do need to sort of clear, as it would be called, the inner closet of our minds, because we've got probably things in there that would attract things we really don't want, or we definitely don't want to sabotage ourselves. So let go of any of the thoughts that would attract something more negative. And again, that's that law of attraction. Another universal principle is that your desires and your beliefs, and I mentioned this when we started the program today, really must be a vibrational match. So again, I cannot hold on one hand that I desire something and then believe on the other hand that I can't have it and expect to get it. So my desires and my beliefs have to be a vibrational match, which in turn would mean, and this is why I wanted my clients, when they did the exercise, my intention, here are the results, these are the actions I would take, it would be so they would get clear. They would know what they want, and they would feel that they could, in fact, have it. Because whatever you can imagine, the universe is said to be able to provide to you. And I live in Virginia Beach, and in this area, the Edgar Cayce Foundation is here, and the Association of Research and Enlightenment. And Edgar Cayce, who was a famous prophet, and you can certainly Google the ARE,